In finance, indeed, time is of the essence. Problems have to be resolved literally instantly. Quantum computing, as I said, is exceptionally powerful. So it can be used to solve these problems like portfolio optimization, risk analysis, and derivative pricing and machine learning in a very short amount of time. Remember, you need to be able to scale quantum technology to your company. And so it's important to start the work now, but also the one with less traffic and so on. So similarly, in finance, we have the problem of portfolio optimization, which consists of optimizing the assets that need to be a part of a portfolio in order to maximize revenue and minimize risk. So this is similar to the problem that I've just presented to you in very simple terms about seating 10 people around the table. But in this case, in the case of portfolio optimization, the number of assets is not 10, but rather 1,000 and even more. So we have many different problems in finance that lend themselves to quantum computing, all problems with high complexity, such as risk analysis, derivative pricing, portfolio optimization, targeting and prediction, and machine learning. Many problems actually in the realm of machine learning can benefit from quantum computing. And what is the quantum computing can do for us? It can certainly give us real-time results. This is very important for finance because in finance, indeed, time is of the essence. Problems have to be resolved literally instantly. And similarly, we cannot wait hours or days for a problem to be resolved. So that's why quantum computing can make a difference in finance. In fact, finance has been estimated to be the first industry sector to benefit from quantum computing, not only in the long term, but also in the medium term and in the short term. Also, thanks to quantum computing, we have a greater accuracy. You can also use the same time budget to perform more analysis, since each analysis now takes a shorter amount of time. And not to be forgotten, quantum computers are more energy efficient than classical computers. So you can see here some of the work that we have done. I just wanted to give you a quick summary. So in the area of optimization, for example, we have created an algorithm that's actually shown in the top left corner that has been published in Nature Scientific Reports that basically allows you to compute extractive text summarization. In other words, you have a document and you want to automatically extract a summary in which the sentences that are more meaningful are kept, and those that are less meaningful are removed. And also the sentences that are perhaps still meaningful but redundant because they're duplicated in terms of like meaning. There is like a redundancy in the semantics of such sentences. Those sentences can be removed. So we have also presented several algorithms in the area of portfolio optimization, including these algorithms that we call NISC-HHL, which has allowed us to execute the HHL algorithm originally introduced for systems of linear equations. These algorithms can be used for optimization problems as well. So you can cast an optimization problem into a system of linear equations, and then you can use the HHL algorithm for resolving it. Now, HHL is also known as an algorithm that requires a lot of resources on a quantum computer, so difficult to execute on today's quantum computers that are a little small still. But our solution is an improvement over traditional HHL. So we have done also risk analysis and derivative pricing in the area of quantum computing. And so this is actually an example of how a classical Monte Carlo simulation can be cast into a quantum Monte Carlo simulation. I'll move right along, and I will tell you a little more about now the risks presented by quantum computing. So quantum computing, as I said, is exceptionally powerful. So it can be used to solve these problems like portfolio optimization, risk analysis, and derivative pricing and machine learning in a very short amount of time. However, at the same time, quantum computers can be used to break cryptography. Because remember, at the foundation of public key cryptography today, algorithms such as RSA and Diffie-Hellman use complex mathematical problem, which is the factorization of large numbers. In other words, if you have an entity with a public and a private key, the private key is nothing but two very large prime numbers, and the corresponding public key is the product of those large numbers. So it's easy to compute the public key from the private key. You just have to multiply those two prime numbers. But it's very difficult to take a public key and factor it into the product of the two prime numbers. So it's very difficult to identify those prime numbers and factor a public key. In fact, it is estimated that a classical supercomputer would require 300 trillion years to break today's 2048-bit RSA. However, with quantum computing, we have seen that a quantum algorithm called Shor's algorithm, named after its inventor, Professor Peter Shor, can break RSA in a matter of hours. In fact, it was demonstrated that, at least mathematically, that quantum computers will be able to break cryptography in one day if they have 1 billion qubits, which is a very large amount of number. So people will say, well, who knows when we will ever have 1 billion qubits? But then an improvement in the algorithm brought that down to 20 million qubits and also reduced the execution time to just 8 hours. And finally, it was also demonstrated that you can break cryptography with only 13,436 qubits, and that would take only 177 days. Well, 177 days is definitely longer than 8 hours, but it's less than 6 months. So in 6 months, people will be able to decrypt your data by computing your private key. How urgent is this problem? How serious is this problem? We actually believe that it is a serious problem, even though quantum computers have not yet been able to break cryptography because we require a large number of qubits. Attackers might already be collecting encrypted data today, even though they cannot decrypt it today, but they will decrypt it later when the quantum computers will be sufficiently powerful to allow them to do so. This type of attack is known as harvest now, decrypt later. And that's why we need to transition to new forms of cryptography as soon as possible. Cryptography forms that are resistant to quantum computing attack. So we have seen several solutions, two in particular. One is called post-quantum cryptography, and that allows to replace today's cryptographic algorithms with new cryptographic algorithms. We're talking about classical algorithms that are not known to be vulnerable to quantum computing for now. Of course, there is no mathematical proof that these algorithms will be forever resistant to quantum computing attacks. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as NIST in the United States, is standardizing post-quantum cryptography. At the same time, we have identified a new technology called quantum communications, in which there is a particular branch of quantum communications called the quantum key distribution, which allows two parties to exchange the same cryptographic key without using any public key cryptography algorithm. So as you can see, JP Morgan Chase has collaborated with Toshiba and Siena in order to achieve this result already. We have been able to secure blockchain applications in using quantum key distribution. At this point, I think I would like to conclude by saying that it's important to become quantum ready now, even though quantum computers are not yet capable of being used in production, but it is important to start the transition to quantum computing because it takes years. So we want to be ready by the time quantum computers are mature. It's also important to identify first wave applications, those that will lend themselves to quantum computing before other applications. And remember, you need to be able to scale quantum technology to your company. And so it's important to start the work now. So this completes my presentation, and I want to thank everybody for attending and happy to answer questions. Thank you.
We'll take a couple of questions. If you have a question for Marco, if you can just put your hand up, we'll make sure a mic reaches you.
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much. I'm Ailur Subramani. I represent Renault Nissan Tech. Absolutely right. When we look at applied research, we are exploring, of course, we are already applying machine learning, and we are also exploring how we can apply quantum science, right? Quantum computing. So my question is, one of the, let's say the low-hanging fruit where we think that we can apply quantum computing is new material design. New material design. So what is your perspective on that?
Thank you very much for this very good question. I am so happy that you asked it. So in new material design, quantum computing can make a huge difference. In fact, the problem of designing new material is actually an optimization problem in which like new material companies are material science companies are supposed to compute design new molecules and then use computers to understand if these molecules are stable and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Classical computers have a big limitation here because the computation of the ground state molecular energy for these molecules explodes with the number of orbitals in the molecules. So quantum computing can make a huge difference. In fact, with quantum computing, we will be able to design new materials, for example, for new fertilizers. Just so you know, the industry of fertilizers is one of the most polluting industries in the world. So if we had new fertilizers that produce less pollution, less greenhouse gases, we will be in a good shape. New fuels can be designed, and also new materials that can capture CO2 from the atmosphere. It's called the carbon sequestration. So I think it's very important that quantum computing gets applied to this particular science. And as a side note, I would like to mention that this is not very different from what pharmaceutical companies are also doing in order to design new molecules for drugs or vaccines.
All right, Marco, on that note, we've kind of run out of time, so we'd like to thank you once again for joining us. We would have loved to have you here in Bangalore, perhaps next time. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause once again. Thank you, Marco, for joining us. Until next time,
thank you.
Take care.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to NASSCOM YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.